What's a fact you know that often shocks people and makes them question how you know it?
Some people do not have the ability to speak in their mind. You know how you can talk to yourself in your own mind without actually speaking out loud? Some people cannot do that. I knew someone who could not picture things in their head. They thought that was just an expression.
Human noses can detect petrichor, the smell of rain on dry earth, more acutely than sharks can detect blood in water. Doubly impressive when you think humans can also detect geosmin, or the smell produced by some bacteria and algae in the presence of ozone and water, telling us how recently it's rained in an area. Pretty neat that it hasn't left us as an evolutionary fail-safe for survival after all these years. During Prohibition in the US, the federal government used to send agents to cities to see how quickly they could find alcohol. New Orleans came in at something like 17 seconds. The agent got off the boat, got into a cab, and was offered alcohol by the cabbie. During slavery in the US, New Orleans had a city ordinance that forbade slave owners from working their slaves on Sunday. This allowed slaves to work paying jobs on Sundays, and many slaves did this to buy their freedom. Of course, they then had to stay in New Orleans. If they left the city limits, they could be taken up as slaves again. Prohibition propelled Walgreens to market prominence, in large part due to prescription alcohol sales. Walgreens was moving medicinal alcohol. Somewhat related, it contributed to the rise of bourbon's popularity. Pre-Prohibition, rye whiskey was more popular than bourbon. Corn subsidies were implemented during World War I, which made corn cheaper to grow. Bourbon must be at least 51% corn. It's also a lot easier to grow than rye. Farmers ripped out their rye crops and replaced them with corn. Bourbon was the go-to prescription booze, and by the time Prohibition ended, rye whiskey was dead and bourbon was king. Still is, although rye has made a bit of a comeback over the last 15 to 20 years. Michael Jackson's hair caught on fire at the exact median day of his life. He had a literal midlife crisis. What's really crazy, and I swear I'm not making this up, while I was reading this comment, someone in my office said it smells like burnt hair in here, and it does. The smell of puppy breath, various aromatic ketones probably associated with milk diet, is also what the inside of a puppy smells like. I'm a vet surgeon that does a lot of pediatric spays. I don't like this. Neither do I, but it's kind of cute in a sick way. No rodents in an elevator machine room. The motors make a sound only rodents can hear and frustrates them. Is that sound not replicable? Could they not use it as pest control? It actually is an option for pest control, though some humans can get headaches from it. Barnacles have the longest penis to body length ratio of the entire animal kingdom. They stick it out and flop it around until they find a lady barnacle to mate with. Please stop referring to Danny DeVito as the barnacle. The Argonaut octopus has a specialized reproductive arm called a hectocotylus that it detaches and throws at a female in order to mate. Some marine flatworms fence with their penises. This can be part of mating, and the species that engage in this behavior are hermaphroditic and practice traumatic insemination. They can transfer sperm unilaterally or bilaterally too. Bedbugs also practice traumatic insemination. The Antichinus basically fucks itself to death. Females are synchronously monoestrous for about 3 weeks, and males basically just mate with multiple females for up to 12 hours each. Litters can have multiple fathers. After mating, the male experiences a surge of corticosteroid hormones that suppress his immune system and cause GI ulcers, leading to his death. In fairness, octopus females tend to eat their mates afterwards, so hucking your doodle at a female and fleeing sounds like a sound strategy. It's probably not as effective for mating, but it gives the male a head start, and that's something at least. I don't know how many species it is, but some female octopodes, yes, I'm a pedant with the pluralization, will just starve to death shortly after giving birth. So much of their energy goes to the pregnancy and then protecting their young, and they just don't eat during. I want to say definitely the giant Pacific octopus does this, but don't quote me on that. Sexual cannibalism usually occurs when the female is not receptive to mating or is hungry. Makes sense, in my opinion.
at least in species that reach an independent stage fairly early or don't need male investment post-birth. Imagine how much rapes among humans would go down if that was our no. Alright, short intermission. I've got a mini challenge going. 100 subscribers by the end of the month. Yeah, I know, sounds small, but Reddit taught me that even small goals can cause total chaos. So if you're vibing with this video, tap that channel icon right here. You don't even need to ring the bell. I'm not that annoying. Just one click and boom, challenge complete. Koalas have the same fingerprint structure as we do. Forensics can't tell them apart, unless it's in a koala's cage in a zoo. Then I would say it's pretty obvious. They also have chlamydia and have sex for pleasure. It's us, koalas, and dolphins. Also bonobos. Hello, let's fuck. Hello, sounds great. A traditional PB&J sandwich can fit perfectly inside a VCR. However, it will not eject. Can confirm, my youngest sister did this once as a toddler. My brother used toast, said he thought he'd see toast on the TV. 24 hours after a large blood spill hits the floor, you can use a dustpan and broom to sweep up the jellified fluid. This is where I must ask, how do you know it? Do you list it as previous experience on your resume? Fistula failed and companion started squirting blood out his arm. His reaction was to run about the house in a panic. I didn't return home from ER until at least 14 hours after squirting happened, and I went to bed. I discovered blood was able to sweep up when I woke up and chose to deal with the bloody mess. Also, primed walls will absorb blood so it's no longer visible. And if you try to clean wall with damp cloth 3 years later, the blood will reappear until the wall dries. I once fell hand first through a plate of glass in my front door. I dripped blood through the house in a panic, trying to weigh the cost of an ambulance and ER visit against the possibility of bleeding to death. The glass severed my wrist. When I returned from the ER 8 hours later, my hardwood floor looked like it had been scattered with rose petals. The blood had dried and curled at the edges. Cleaned it up with a broom and dustpan, just as you said. Honey never spoils, like ever. They found edible honey in ancient Egyptian tombs thousands of years old. Picked that up from a food science article I read. Coming across this fact always wakes up the dormant resentment I have for my mother after she tossed a massive jar of honey one of my friend's dads gave me. He was a beekeeper, not long before he passed. It was the best honey I've ever tasted in my entire life. Her reasoning? No one was eating it, because obviously eating the entire jar in a short period of time is normal. Well, time to work on forgetting about it for the 1000th time. Another fun fact, ancient Egyptian beer contained tetracycline, an antibiotic that was only discovered in 1948. This scientific discovery was made by students trying to replicate ancient Egyptian beer recipes and has been confirmed by archaeologists finding traces of tetracycline in the teeth of mummies. I've gotten a few eyebrows raised for knowing that wombat poop is cube-shaped. I honestly thought that was common knowledge. They also kind of twerk some of the animals that attempt to prey on them to death, or at least to retreat. They'll run to their burrow, block the entrance with their body, and then use their armored butts to smash the predator's heads against the burrow roof. They have armored butts too. I already said that, but it's also kind of a separate fact. Their butts are made of 4 fused plates and have a decent amount of cartilage.
It actually takes about 5 minutes to knock someone out with a chloroform-soaked rag. I mean, that's what they say. They say it takes 5 minutes. Excuse me, does this smell like chloroform? Yes? Well, just to be sure, give it another 4 minutes and 59 seconds or so.
Octopuses have 3 hearts, blue blood, and can taste with their arms. 2 hearts pump blood to the gills, 1 pumps it to the rest of the body. Their blood is blue because it uses copper or haemocyan instead of iron to carry oxygen. Each of their 8 arms has hundreds of tiny sensors that let them taste or sense chemicals in whatever they touch. People often get wide-eyed and ask, wait, how do you even know that? They also have donut-shaped brains. A generally known fact, but one that still amazes me, Queen Cleopatra lived at a time closer to the moon landings than the building of the pyramids. Interestingly enough, during her reign, there were already archaeologists studying ancient Egypt.
Vegetables are a culinary term, not a botanical one. Most veggies are actually fruits. The rest are tubers and other botanical terms. An adult raccoon can squeeze through a 4-inch diameter hole. The human anus can dilate to 8 inches. 8 fours equals 2 raccoons. One 4-inch diameter raccoon has an area, cross-section, of 4 pi square inches. One 8-inch diameter anus has an area of 16 pi square inches. If the raccoons can conform to a wedge shape, they can enter 4 at a time. For greatest efficiency, have your raccoons form 4 separate lines. Thanks for watching, guys. Now it's your turn. Drop your thoughts in the comments. What's a fact you know that often shocks people and makes them question how you know it? And yeah, remember that little challenge I mentioned earlier? Well, now I'm actually asking. Hit that subscribe button, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, and yeah, go ahead and ring that bell too. I promise I won't spam you. Just more weird, funny, and wild Reddit stories coming your way. Talk to you soon.